All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. On behalf of the California Department of Veterans Affairs, the California Transition Assistance Program, in partnership with Cuyamaca College and U.S. Vets, we'd like to welcome you to today's webinar. The title of today's webinar is Mastering Resiliency and Navigating Life Stressors. My name is Derek Rose, and I serve as a training coordinator for the California Transition Assistance Program. We're very thankful that you're able to join us today to speak and learn about a really important topic regarding mental health, specifically veterans' mental health. So we have a lot of great information to cover today. So thank you again for your time. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started. I'd like to just do some brief housekeeping for today's workshop. We do ask that you keep your cameras off and your microphones muted if you are not one of the panelists or speakers. This just helps save on some of the bandwidth for the rest of the presenters, possibly eliminate some of the additional distractions as well. So please keep your cameras off until it is your turn to speak, and then we'll be happy to highlight your video. As far as the agenda goes today, again, my name is Derek, and I'm here with CalVet. We're going to start with our key speaker for today, Mr. Gregory Sanchez with U.S. Vets. And he's going to cover an array of topics regarding mental health, resiliency, and navigating life stressors. After Gregory's presentation, I'm going to kind of take back over, and I'd like to share with you some of the benefits and the services that are offered here in the state of California on behalf of CalVet to veterans, service members, and their family members. So maybe some additional benefits that you may be aware of or possibly utilizing, or maybe some new information for you that you can take away from today's workshop and apply for yourself as a benefit or a service as a veteran here in the state of California. And then lastly, we're going to be covering some regional-based resources and assistance, specifically in our San Diego counties, through our local interagency network coordinator, Mr. Lance Yunker is going to be joining us here shortly as well. So that's kind of an overview of the agenda. If you have any questions for today's presenters or just in general, we do encourage you to utilize that Q&A tab that's on your toolbar. That is for sending questions to the panelists. That way we can all kind of view those questions as they come in, and the appropriate subject matter expert can answer that on the spot. If we're not able to kind of answer it right on the spot, we can hold that question until the end of our presentation today, and we'd be happy to kind of read them out loud and go through those questions as a group. So please utilize that Q&A tab. My colleague, Kirk Eller, is monitoring the Q&A and the chat feature. Kirk is going to be sending out some links, resources, and additional information kind of as we're speaking. But that chat feature is just for you to receive those links. So do utilize that Q&A tab. All right, so that is it for kind of the introduction. Again, thank you for being here. At this time, I would like to introduce our speaker for today's topic, Mr. Gregory Sanchez, who is an MFT trainee with U.S. Vets outside the wire, Los Angeles. So with that, Greg, take it away. It's all yours.
Hey, welcome everybody. Thanks for taking the time to go ahead and meet for a specific topic that affects not only veterans, but everybody in the environment around us, right? Opioid stress is commonly something that we say and preach a lot about, but we don't really emphasize it, or sometimes we don't even understand what it really is. And my job today is kind of to give you guys an overview, especially speaking from a veteran standpoint. I myself am also a veteran, USMC 2014 and 2018. So just kind of give you a little bit of background information, kind of educate you on how stress affects the body, what we do with stress, and how stress can both be positive and negative. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and dive in. If you have any questions, like you said, go ahead and put that in the Q&A, but let's go ahead and start. So going over the objectives today, right? Very first thing I want to do is define stress, right? Kind of get a feeling for what it is and kind of give you guys a baseline understanding. So that way everyone has the same page, because stress can mean different things for different people. Secondly, I want to go ahead and go underneath and kind of see what causes stress, different things that impact us both physiologically and mentally. And then also, as the third objective, I want to go ahead and identify the signs of stress and how it affects our bodies. And lastly, just some things that kind of help us cope with stress, just different activities that we can do, or just different mindfulness techniques that we can utilize. But with that, we'll go ahead and dive right in. So, next slide. So what is stress? Stress is a feeling of emotional or physical tension, right? It can come through a form of either an event or a thought that we carry, and it makes you feel frustrated, angry, or nervous. It's our body's reaction to a challenge or a demand, right? But in short bursts, sometimes stress can be pretty positive. But for a baseline, we're going to use stress as a overwhelming feeling that it both affects us physically and or physiologically. Next slide. So, from the motor pool to civilian life. So those of you who have served, right, you know what the motor pool is. It's where motor transport operators live and breathe. But this is just some of the stressors that we face when we are in service, right? So one of the first things we do is trying to relate to others. You're joining a new environment that can cause a lot of stress. You have people not only who are different than you, but also come from different walks of life. So stress for you could be different for stress for your comrade or partner. We also have family stress because even if you're in the military, you know, you're serving, you still feel the impact of family. And not only just of what they're contributing to, but missing them is also a sign of stress that we also feel and are impacted when we're serving. Service and resources. This one's pretty important because we're often given opportunities to kind of focus on stresses in our life and mental health. Oftentimes we kind of have a stigma against it and we don't utilize it when we're in. So this can be a source of stress because it can be overwhelming to be given all this information about mental health and not really understand what it does for us. Structure is also another part of stress that come with serving on active duty, right? You love the structure. It helps people thrive, but it also can be very restricting, and some people can find stress in both participating in it, but also in not having structure anymore when they transition out. So as you can see in the next circle, rejoining the workforce slash school, that transition out can be very difficult for a lot of us. A lot of us suffer from an adjustment kind of cognitive dissonance where we're like, oh, wow, we just went from high speed. Every single moment of every day is accounted for. And then you get freedom, and sometimes you don't even know what to do with that freedom. So that's just a brief overview of kind of what us veterans feel and what others might feel when they transition from our active duty self to our civilian self. Next slide. So modern day stress could be anything, could range from anything. I like this slide because we have things that impact everybody, right? I mean, the top right corner, we have the coronavirus, huge stressor for everybody. It doesn't matter who you are, non-discriminatory, right? That definitely brought a lot of stress out of people. Children and family members definitely cause stress. Money, right? Making ends meet. Time management is also a huge stressor. Social media too is starting to become a new one in the last 20 years. It's impacting a lot of our ability to focus, and people can honestly get consumed and overwhelmed by it, which can lead to a lot of stress and lack of productivity, sitting in traffic, um, marriage and couples like you guys, we feel a lot of stress with our partners. I mean, I'm one to admit that I definitely get stressed by my partner. Love them to death, but sometimes they can be a little too much. And also like being a taskmaster. So if you see in the middle of the screen, there's a lady holding several different things. Trying to wear too many hats can obviously put too much stress on ourselves and overwhelm us and actually impact our performance. But just wanted to go ahead and touch on what can be impacting us on a day-to-day basis and that everyone can feel, both veteran and non-veteran, right? Next slide. So when it comes to identifying the signs of stress, right? Everybody feels stressed in different ways, but this chart's here to kind of give you a visual image on how different stressors impact the body and what it looks like inside. So like on our body, right, we can see that we feel physiologically, we can feel headaches, we can get sick, muscle tension, fatigue, IBS, breathlessness. So that's kind of like the physiological aspect of stress and how it can impact you, right? How you can feel it. These are some of the signs that are there emotionally, right? You can lose a sense of confidence, be irritable, depressed, have some anger, anxiousness, apprehension. Uh, when it comes to behavior, a lot of us fall into the habit of kind of coping with substances. I know drinking is a big thing that a lot of vets face. Drinking in excess because you're so stressed. It's a way to kind of dampen down the stresses that you think you're feeling. Loss of sex drive, over and under eating, being restless, difficulty sleeping too. Stress just has a whole can wreak a whole havoc on our life and in our mind, right? Our mentality. We can worry, we can have muddled thinking, can be cloudy, inability to concentrate, nightmares, indecision. So it kind of affects that prefrontal cortex executive function that we have. So stress is just all around. It's always going to be there. It's not going anywhere, right? Stress is just something that if we can recognize the signs, we can kind of see where it's coming from. So next slide. Another thing, right? So stress comes physiologically through this kind of little graphic that I have. So the stress stimulus, like I said, it can be both emotional or an event that happens. So it can be your own thoughts contributing to your own stress or something that happens, say like a car accident. So there's brain centers that get activated. Specifically, the hypothalamus kind of turns on, and then it releases a corticotropin. It's a hormone that activates in your hypothalamus and then gets released to your pituitary gland, which then releases adenocorticotropics. Those are like neurotransmitters that start to communicate with the rest of your body. And where they go is they go down to the adrenal cortex, which is in the adrenal gland. Then it releases that stress hormone that we're all familiar with. It's a big buzzword, right? Cortisol. And cortisol is sort of like what gets you riled up. When you feel yourself just being high, tense, kind of in a fight or flight kind of mentality, that's what's happening to you physiologically. So when it comes to why you're feeling that way, if you can't give yourself an explanation, um, this is sort of a graphic that explains what's going on underneath the surface, right? Because we all feel stress, right? But this is the part that happens in the bloodstream, right? That happens inside your body. And this is how we kind of establish that stress is just a normal part of everyday life. You're going to feel this, but oftentimes we kind of leave it activated too long that it becomes a habit. And what we want is we want to break those habits. Um, Next slide. So not all stress is bad. I kind of talked about this in the beginning, right? There's such thing as eustress and distress. So eustress is sort of using that stress that we feel, sort of the motivation to kind of go ahead and challenge yourself. You can have an impact on how you're doing something. So a perfect example of eustress is playing a sport, right? You kind of stress your body out, you're exercising, but that stress is causing you to do more and kind of exercise your ability to accomplish a feat, like throw a football, get a ball in a basket. Use stress is sort of the positive way in which we use stress and kind of use it as a progressor in our goal, right? It can impact our motivation, it can enhance it. Um, Vice versa, when you have too much stress and you become distressed, right? So being bothered to where it's impacting you, it's shutting you down, you're feeling anxiety, you're procrastinating, you're feeling an impact on your performance. Um, Stress is a huge buzzword and it often has a negative connotation, but distress and eustress are both forms of stress. It's just how are you using that stress, right? And when we kind of sit too long in that stressful state and we have too much cortisol release and a lot of norepinephrine releasing, we sit in distress and we that's what everybody thinks of. But not all stress is equal, right? Not all stress is going to be devastating to you. And you can even use it and it can motivate you to kind of get to your goals, right? Anything worth getting requires a little bit of hard work. Um, Next slide. So coming with eustress and distress, this little graphic here is called the window of tolerance. It's a pretty basic graph. It's a little bell curve, right? But as you can see, the bottom line is your stress, right? So on the left side, we have very low stress, and the right side, we have very high stress. And then eustress is kind of like the the positive stress that we're using to kind of motivate us and get us to our goals. Now, when it comes to performance, right, you want to be somewhere right where that dotted line is. So you don't want to be so calm and relaxed that you don't feel any stress, right? Because then you're going to be on the lower end of the bell curve and you're not going to get anything done. Vice versa, if you're distressed and you have too much stress, you're not going to be able to get anything done. You're going to feel overwhelmed, going back to those symptoms, right? You're going to have physiological symptoms, headaches, aches, nausea, worrying. So the sweet point right there, the nice little dots in the middle where the bell meets, that's going to be your peak performance. That's where you're going to thrive. And getting in and out of that state is going to take some time. It takes work, it takes practice, therapy. Me as a therapist, I'm not immune to feeling this. I've often feel super lazy motivated some days. Some days I feel really stressed. Just giving this presentation, it has me in a position that has me at that peak performance level. I'm not too riled up, I'm not too calm. I am just where I need to be to kind of power through this presentation. But when it comes to the window of tolerance, you want to remind yourself, okay, a little stress is good, right? It's going to help me get to where I want to go, but I don't want to have too much stress where I'm on the other side and you can't function, right? Where you're just overwhelmed and you're anxious and you're stuck and you don't feel the motivation to do anything or accomplish anything, right? You lose that sense of confidence you have in yourself. Um, Going on to the next slide, it's going to talk a little bit about anger. And stress causes anger, right? Because we can often feel irritable, upset, angry, but oftentimes anger can be an iceberg, right? It can be something that we see a little piece of, but underneath the surface, we have all these emotions that are coming from it, you know? Anger is often the manifestation of a lot of these emotions you see underneath the surface, and we only express it through either aggression, right? Verbally. Anger serves as a social script, so it kind of like protects us, and it's an easier emotion to handle than a lot of these more complicated ones underneath the surface. But just like icebergs, right? There are large pieces of water found floating in the open ocean. But what you see is just the tip of the iceberg. It's not exactly what's going on underneath, right? And when we're feeling stress, a lot of these emotions can come out. But the manifestation of anger comes through not understanding our own emotions, right? And not understanding that it's okay to feel these emotions, right? The simple fact of you acknowledging these emotions are going to put you in a form of eustress, right? To get you in a positive state that can motivate you to keep going. Um, Anger is not necessarily a bad thing, right? I don't want you to take that away from this. Anger can be a useful tool, but just like anything else in life, you want to use it in moderation, right? And everything in moderation. Next slide. So I really like this picture, right? This picture is really powerful, especially to me because you have two vets here, right? You have two military members here. You have someone from the old kind of generation, right? The older, greatest generation, looks like World War II-esque, right? But you also have somebody who's more modern, like maybe within the last 10, 15 years. And you can see that they're holding each other's hand and providing support to each other because even though they're separated by years, some decades, right? Some of the stresses still impact them. But building that support and that unity, it doesn't matter whether you served 50 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, you have support. You have people you can reach out to. It doesn't have to be another veteran, but building our own support system is a way we can handle stress and make it more manageable. Um, I personally relate to a lot of older veterans, but I spend a lot of time speaking with them because of my job, right? As a mental health therapist intern, I spend a lot of time with the older vets. But this picture definitely gives me a lot of hope, right? Because we're still here for each other. It may not feel that way. And even if you're alone, you feel isolated and you self-isolate. All it takes is you reaching out and somebody can grab you by the hand and hold you up. And yeah, next slide. So this is a blank slide, and what often helps me when I'm in a moment of distress or I feel overwhelmed is kind of imagining my happy place, like a very calm, serenity place. I'm a huge surfer, so by default, I love the beach. So Derek, if you could tap next, you'll see I gave like kind of like a visual of what I imagine to be is low stress, right? I mean, you can see here, it's just a beautiful image. Imagery can be a huge, huge, huge reducer of stress because it can help take you away from your current moment, right? So it's kind of like that mindfulness that I talked about in the beginning. So imagery, thinking about where you're at and how you can remove yourself from it, definitely will give you some benefit in helping manage stress when you're feeling it in the moment. Uh, but now moving on, next slide, we're going to talk a little bit about ways that we can handle stress, right? So there's healthy venting, there's emotional dumping, right? Healthy venting includes not blaming others, right? Sticking to one topic, owning up to your own mistakes, not self-victimizing, right? Understanding that there's a bigger picture around us and that you can't control everything that happens to you. Instead of wallowing in kind of your despair, you sort of work on a solution, right? You kind of build on your tragedy, but also find a way to get out of it, you know? Being open to constructive feedback is also a way of healthy venting, right? Having others give that input, kind of going back to the two vets holding hands, right? Supporting each other. Um, Not repeating the same issue over and over again, right? They say insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Definitely learning from previous experiences can be a huge, huge uh, healthy coping mechanism when it comes to handling the stress. Uh, Vice versa, right? Emotional dumping, which can just keep you in a place of complacency, right? Blaming others, that's often very easy thing to do. It's often the most common thing that a lot of us feel when we're stressed out. It's easier to put the blame on others and remove ourselves from the equation to make ourselves feel better, right? But that's not going to help you out in the long run. Um, Being overwhelmed with multiple issues at once, right, can definitely contribute to that stress. It's not going to help you get out of that stressful state. Not owning up to your mistakes, it's going to be a big thing too, because as scary as it may be, right, having the courage to face our own mistakes is going to move us from a very a very dark place to a better place, you know? And mistakes are just proof that you're trying. So just keep that in mind. When it comes to emotional dumping, you just want to be considerate of other people's time, right? You don't want to take advantage of other people. But yeah, this is just a little bit about emotional dumping and talking just with your support system around you. So next slide. So that kind of ties into like healthy self-talk, right? So the words we tell ourselves eventually become our own thoughts, and our own thoughts eventually become our own actions, right? This is a huge component of the cognitive behavioral uh, framework. So healthy self-talk, right, can look something like, oops, I made a mistake. You know, I like me. I did something bad. This is really hard, but I'm gonna keep trying. Haven't figured it out yet, or I am enough and I'm worthy, right? So this positive self-talk is kind of what becomes your thought process. And like I said, your thoughts become your actions. It's just a loop that we carry from a cognitive behavioral framework. And if you notice, the positive self-talk takes a lot of accountability, right? Going back to like, it's not about what happens to you. It's not about what happened to you, you know, but how you respond and how you come back from it. Some examples of negative self-talk, right? I'm dumb. No one likes me. I'm a bad person. I give up. You know, that's not going to do you any good. It feels good in the moment, right? But oftentimes, what you do in the moment is not going to contribute to where you're trying to be and how you're trying to pull yourself out of that hole, right? But just keep in mind that positive self-talk can be a powerful tool in changing your framework and reframing kind of how you feel about yourself. And simple words like "I like me" can go a long way. Try it, you know? Next time you wake up, just say, you know what, I like me. Today's going to be a good day. And kind of see how where the day goes from there. Next slide. So some relaxation techniques, they're very powerful, right? You know, stretching is a really big one. Stretching reduces the muscle tension that we carry in ourselves naturally. It reverses the cycle of tension that we carry, and it can improve our serotonin production, right? So it releases a lot of mood stabilizers. Uh, the mood stabilizer will help improve your mood function and overall outlook, but stretching is a huge thing. You know what I mean? It can be as simple as you can see here, stretching your hands over your head, reaching above, It kind of resets. It's called your vagus nerve. It's like right here on the outside of your neck. Um, that is something where we carry a lot of stress in, and it's something that you can do as simple as when you're sitting down, right? Raising your shoulders, shrugging them down, raising your hands over your head. Like I said, stretching is there to help release muscle tension. So if we can start small, right? Start small with like even your muscle, eventually you'll train yourself to release stress as you release the tension within your muscle. Next slide. So as you get a little more advanced, right? Like I was saying, muscle relaxation. By learning to relax your muscles, you'll be able to use your body to dissipate that stress, right? Creating tension inside yourself and releasing it. It seems elementary, but there is a lot of data that supports that when you tense your body up and release, some of that stress goes with it, right? The act of moving itself is therapeutic, and learning to teach yourself how to kind of focus your stress on a certain part of your body and then relaxing and releasing can definitely improve your mood, reduce stress, and give you a better outlook on how you feel. That we carry tension all over our body, right? That's why progressive muscle relaxation is a huge game changer because for me, I get a lot of tension in my back, right? So if I tense up my back, take a deep breath, calm myself, and hold that tension, as soon as I start to relax and release, I feel some of that stress and tension dissipate. It falls out of me almost. But progressive muscle relaxation mainly helps because it focuses on the major muscle groups in your body, and it kind of gives you sort of a way to release that tension that we talked about. Next slide. And then, of course, mindfulness breathing, right? There's a lot of techniques that there are. There's the four-box breathing method. There's the 10-second inhale, exhale. My preferred method of relaxation and what I teach a lot of the vets that I do therapy with is the four-box breathing method. It's very simple. It's based off of a square, and every 4 seconds, you're going to do a different action, right? So the first 4 seconds, you would inhale for 4 seconds, then hold for 4 seconds, then release for 4 seconds, and then hold again, right? So that's where the box comes from. It's a cycle. It's definitely something that can reset yourself physiologically, and you can do it anywhere. You don't need a visual or anything. You just got to count to four, right? That's the only barrier. If you can't count to four, then um, that might not be the breathing technique for you. But the simple act of taking a breath in and getting oxygen to the brain can really, really, really relieve that tension that we carry. I have a graphic here of how breathing works. I'm sure everybody here understands how breathing works, but you also want to take the time to take a deep breath, 'cause we often spend time in a shallow breath kind of state because we're constantly moving, especially in today's world. We have so much going on that we're breathing and we're just going through the motions. But taking 2, 3, 4 minutes out of your day to really breathe and focus on the breath as it comes in your comes in your nostrils, down your throat to your lungs, and focusing on it exit your body is going to be huge. You know, give it a try yourself by all means. There's so many breathing techniques. The VA has one. It's a breathing exercise. I have the link here. The link will be available when this video posts, but definitely breathing is one of the more preferred interventions that I like. And a lot of the vets that I do therapy with tend to really enjoy it. And if you have any questions, I mean, feel free to just ask in the box below. So next slide. And for those of you who are a little more pragmatic and a little more paper oriented, this is a stress ruler. It seems very simple, but it actually has a purpose, right? So day and time, it's kind of a log of tracking what you were stressed about, right? So like today's May 15th, it's 1 p.m. My stress level, I would say is pretty, yeah, I would say like a 6. So I'm very bothersome right now. What I was doing, I was giving a presentation. What was I thinking? I was thinking, oh man, am I going to ruin this presentation? But this is a tool for managing stress because it gives you a chance to utilize mindfulness and also reflect back on what was going on and what set you in that stressful mode. All right, so this is a workbook. It's available through the Department of Veteran Affairs. The link is on the link is on the slide here. You can click that and it can take you there. But definitely a powerful tool for those of you who prefer more written out and visual kind of things. And yeah, next slide. I have some more resources for you guys, right? These are all links. These are all resources that we can hand out to our veterans, those of you transitioning, those of you who need some help with healthy living, right? I mean, US vets, we're also a resource too, right? We provide mental health services to veterans and their families. So yeah, just wanted to go ahead and thank you all for giving me the time to speak with you today, talk a little bit about stress. And if you have any questions, feel free to go in the Q&A box. But that concludes my part of the presentation. So I just want to thank you all, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, Gregory. We really appreciate it. Always, appreciate US Vets and joining us for these presentations. I hope everybody was joining along with some of the stretches. I know I did, and it was very helpful to kind of relieve some of the tension that's built up. So again, feel free to reach out to Greg if you have any, Greg, if you want to put any additional contact information into that chat feature to share anything else, feel free to do so. But again, thank you all again for your time. So with that, we kind of want to shift gears now and kind of dive into a little bit more about what CalVet has to offer as a state agency for veterans, specifically with our CalTAP program. So I'd like to kind of share with you a little bit, about what CalTAP does. So just basically, as it says on the screen, we inform and connect veterans of all eras to their federal and state benefits. And kind of as Greg was mentioning, there are different veterans from different eras of service and different periods of service who may be experiencing different challenges at different times or have different needs at different times. So the way that we've, focused our training and our programs is through our pathways. And you can see how those pathways are described. So we kind of cover 5 key areas, starting with our core curriculum, which I like to describe as basically VA Benefits 101. So if you're just starting, you're recently out of the service and you want to know how to go to apply for VA healthcare services, or you want to file a claim for a service-connected disability or a condition, perhaps you want to maybe just exactly know what your benefits are. What do I get as a veteran, both federally and here at the state? And that's kind of what I'm going to dive into in the next few slides. Additionally, if you're planning on going back to school, using your post 9/11 GI Bill, or you want to start a job, you can navigate our employment pathway. A lot of great resources and information in there about how to get a state job with the state of California. Additionally, if you wanted to start or launch your own business, for any entrepreneurs out there are specific resources and trainings that we provide to help you and assist you as a veteran-owned business and actually apply for some specific designations and certifications that you can have as a veteran-owned business. And additionally, service providers. So if you work with veterans, employ veterans, or just an advocate for veterans, or provide services, this is essentially a cultural competency training platform that we've created to help assist those who want to, provide services in the veteran community. So all of this is on our website. I can kind of show you how to navigate that as we go along, but really just want to kind of show you, what CalTAP is, the work that we do, and how we reach our target audience, which is veterans and their family members. So this is just kind of a visual, a screenshot of, what we kind of describe as the veteran's life cycle, or the veteran's journey map. So this covers everything from, initially joining the military, starting your military service, kind of understanding the path ahead, all the way to your separation. You get your DD-214 in your hand and you say, where do I go next? What's my next step? Do I Am I looking for that next job? Am I going back to school? Do I need to secure housing for myself and my family? All the way through, career building, having, mental health resources as we transition out of the military, to financial planning, retirement, and all the way through end of life care, and benefits and services. So the point of this journey map is to show you that CalVet and CalTAP is there to assist you in kind of any area that you may need assistance on or need guidance on. We're there to kind of step in each way and provide you benefits and services in your journey. So this is our website. If you want to find us and kind of start navigating some of our resources, there's a few different links on here. One is for kind of down at the bottom is for our California Veterans Resource Book. If you don't have a hard copy of this book, you can go to this link right here and you can download a PDF version that looks like this. And this is just a really great resource for you to keep handy. It basically covers all things veterans benefits related, all of your federal benefits, your state benefits that we're talking about today, where your local and county offices are, nonprofit government or nonprofit agencies as well. So all of that is in there for you, so we can share that with you. Hopefully you can download that and take it with you today for future reference. Okay, so I kind of mentioned just the benefits overview, and you're probably asking yourself, can he just get to it and tell me what my California benefits are? So I'd like to just kind of highlight some of the benefits and services that are offered here in California for veterans and possibly their family members as well. So just as an overview, kind of first and foremost, kind of one of our highlighted programs and benefits that we offer is that college and tuition fee waiver for veterans dependents. This is really great because if you are a veteran and you have a disability rating with the VA, your child can go to any CSU, a UC, or California Community College tuition free here in the state of California. So that's an incredible benefit to use. So if you have children who are maybe young right now or approaching college age and you have a disability rating with the VA, then they can use this benefit. This is really great because oftentimes service members have to transfer their benefit, their GI Bill benefit, to their children for them to be able to use for their education. This is really great because one, the child can go to school free with the veteran's disability rating, and the veteran can preserve their own benefits if they want to pursue a higher level of education, whether it's an undergraduate or a master's program, or even up to a PhD. So this is a really great benefit. Do encourage you to assess your eligibility to see if your dependents qualify for this. Additionally, we have some DMV programs that we sponsor. One is the designation on your driver's license that says the word veteran right there on your California ID. This allows you to show your veteran status in the community. Doesn't necessarily qualify you for any specific benefits, but it does give you that veteran status if anybody needs to verify you're a veteran for maybe a 10% off at your Lowe's or Home Depot or something along those lines. That's kind of always the line I always like to use. But it's just a great way for you to show your veteran status. Motor vehicle registration fee waiver. This does come with a disability criteria attached to it. So if you have been rated by the VA, the federal VA, as a 100% service-connected disabled veteran with a mobility impairment, any type of mobility impairment, then you can qualify for a motor vehicle registration exemption on one vehicle. So that is another benefit that's offered, a great benefit if you do have that rating. All right, recreational activities. So state parks pass, you can qualify for a state parks pass through Department of Parks and Recreation if you're a disabled veteran at 50%. This will give you a hard copy pass that you can use for free entry into all of the California state parks. Additionally, you can qualify for a reduced fee on your hunting and fishing licenses. You would just apply through that through Department of Fish and Wildlife, and then they would basically input that eligibility. And then when you go out in town to buy a fishing license, it will be at a reduced fee. Disabled veteran property tax exemption. This is, again, for those who've been rated at 100% by the VA. And if you own a home, you can apply through your county assessor's office to where you pay your property taxes, and they will grant you basically a discount on your property taxes. I think it's up to close around $140,000 for an exemption amount on your property. So it's not a full exemption, but it is a way, it's basically a discount and a way for you to save money on your annual tax statement through your county assessor's office. Let's see, additionally, the business license and tax and fee exemption, that's not a program that's offered directly through Calvet. But let's say that you wanted to sell any goods or products or services, and you needed to obtain a business license to do that. So if you get that license at maybe a city office or a county office, they should have what's basically called a veterans exemption to where you don't have to pay a fee to acquire that license. So if you are interested in maybe starting a business or getting a business license, wherever you get that, make sure that they're honoring that exemption for you. All right, so some additional divisions and units that we have at Calvet through our headquarters building in Sacramento. Of course, we have our Veteran Services, which is where the CalTAP program falls under. Veteran Services, manages and operates all of our state programs, whether it's our training and outreach, our homelessness prevention programs, some additional programs as well. This is, kind of, boots on the ground, if you will, as far as CalTAP and Calvet outreach. We also have our home loans program. If you aren't aware, Calvet has a really great home loan program that uses your VA home loan eligibility, and it's funded directly through Calvet in the state of California. So it's a really great program. Do encourage you. We can put some more information in the chat if you're interested in home ownership. But kind of the main goal of our home loans program is to kind of steer the veteran in the right direction, to get them housing as needed. So maybe that means going with Calvet, or if there's some additional resources out there for you, that is ultimately the main goal. But if you're interested, definitely reach out to our home loans unit to see how they can work with you with your VA home loan eligibility. Additionally, we have our women's veterans and our minority and underrepresented veterans outreach programs at Calvet. These units do a lot of great work in advocacy, outreach, mentorship, training, citizenship, and naturalization resources as well. So a great team of folks at Calvet who do work for our underrepresented veteran communities here in California. Calvet Homes for long-term care. Calvet operates 8 veterans homes in the state of California. These homes have a level of care all the way from independent living all the way through skilled nursing facilities. So if that time of need does come for yourself or a family member, they do have that eligibility for a veterans homes. And lastly, we operate 3 cemeteries on a state level, separate from the National VA Cemetery Administration. Here at the state, we operate 3 of those at the current moment. All right, so I know there's a lot of information, but if you'd like to reach out and learn more, you can always reach out to us directly at our email address listed here. You can follow us along on our social media platforms, which will allow you to attend future trainings and additional topics that we cover as well. We're also going to be sharing a QR code for a survey in the next few slides. We do encourage your feedback on that. This just, make sure that we're, doing our best job in presenting this information to you and making sure it's relevant for you to kind of tailor our trainings. So we do appreciate your feedback on that shortly. This is how you can register for our website. You can go on there and create a profile for yourself through My Calvet. This just allows you to stay updated and kind of in tune with everything that Calvet has going on. This is my personal contact information. My name is Derek Rose. That's my email address. Feel free to reach out if you have questions. Be happy to talk to you at length about anything that we covered today. All right, with that, I would like to introduce Mr. Lance Yunker out of San Diego County. He's our San Diego County link. He does a lot of great work down there in the San Diego area. So Lance, it's all yours.
All right, yeah, just real quick as we wrap up here, I'm the local interagency network coordinator. If you go to the next slide, you'll see that we have eight links in eight different regions in California. So no matter where you end up in California, you'll always have a designated link. And our job really is to know the ins and outs of the veteran and military community in that region, and then make sure that we provide that those links and those connections for you as well as veteran organizations. So a link is a really great tool that you can use anytime reaching out to any one of us, depending on which region of interest you are in. Next slide, you'll see, we basically make referrals. We provide outreach. We do briefs and seminars and different things at the bases, at colleges, different organizations and businesses to their veteran groups. And we really just try and establish, those networks and get people, veterans to benefits and benefits to veterans. We also assist with local emergencies. So anytime there are the fires or the floods, we'll be out at those local assistance centers helping veterans who've been displaced, as well as providing leadership and advocacy in the local community. And that looks a little bit different depending on which region you're in as well. Next slide. Some of the other ways, that we might be able to plug you in is not necessarily even into veteran specific departments and divisions within the government, but also like with EDD help or American Job Centers. So we can refer you to whether it's government agencies or nonprofits, that kind of stuff, to help you out with whatever your needs are, as well as help you if you're having problems with the County Veteran Service Office, getting appointments, getting, benefit ratings, that kind of stuff. We can provide other, ways of doing that as well as getting in touch with the healthcare side of things with the VA and vet centers. Next slide. This is going to be my contact information, so you can email me, text me, call me anytime, and I will get back to you as soon as possible and hopefully answer your questions and get you to the right people. Thank you, Derek.
All right, Lance, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, so this is everybody's contact information for today. If you do have any questions that maybe you wanted to keep personal, you can always reach out to us directly to get a little bit more clarification or just talk to us a little bit more about maybe some of the things we learned today. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Kirk Eller, who's been monitoring our Q&A. I don't see any notifications in there right now, but Kirk, do we have anything that we should be covering?
Nope, we're good opening the question, so it's open for available to answer however you want.
Okay. So with that, I'll go ahead and highlight our QR code for our survey. Maybe we can give it a couple minutes for any additional questions to come in, but maybe you could just pull out your smartphone. I think everything's basically QR code generated now. I think so, which makes it easier. So if you have a few minutes, I do appreciate your feedback. The point of this, again, is just to make sure that we're doing you all a service by giving you the most relevant training topics that apply to you. So do encourage your feedback on that if you'd like to take a few minutes to complete the survey. I would like to also highlight some additional webinars and trainings that we have coming up through the rest of the month of May. We are focusing heavily on mental health this month. So we do have a few more mental health related webinars coming up, as well as some additional training topics as well. So I do encourage you to follow us along. Every month we kind of have a different topic and a different theme. So you can possibly follow us along on our social media platforms, register for our newsletters. That way you can stay up to date and attend future trainings. Just wanted to thank you all again for being here today. A really important and relevant topic, I think, that we can all, take a little bit of information from today. I think the key point was kind of that, we all deal with stress, and it's really a part of life, and kind of how we manage that stress and navigate that stress is what really kind of separates us from either being productive with that stress or becoming distressed. So I personally, learned a lot from today's webinar. So I hope you did as well. So thank you all again. Thank you for your military service. Thank you for providing services to veterans if you are a service provider as well. Thank you again to Greg with US Vets. And thank you to Cynthia with Cuyamaca College for giving us a platform to be able to host this webinar today. If there's not anything else, Kirk, do we possibly have one question that might have come in that we could take a look at, or are we able to knock that out?
Everything's all good, or just mostly thank yous and thanking Greg for his great presentation on mindfulness and stress relief. So we want to
Perfect.
thank everyone for joining.
All right. Okay, with that, I wish you all a great rest of your week. Stay safe, happy, and healthy, and we hope to see you again down the road. Thanks again.